Hello, everyone, and welcome into the daily card pull for Thursday, August 24th. So I'll be taking a look at what all messages God, the divine spirit, is trying to send your way. So before we jump into the signs themselves, let's take a look at a couple of cards for the general feel for the whole collective. All right, so we've got our Three of Pentacles, our Ace of Cups, and our Page of Cups. So your Ace of Cups, that's going to be kind of like a little bit of that new beginning, like creativity type of energy. Sometimes the Three of Pentacles is seen in like twin flames in terms of that collaboration that, one pentacle is the divine masculine, one's the divine feminine, and one is spirit. And then Page of Cups is coming in like with a new offer. So usually Page of Cups is kind of like a little bit of that innocence and naivety. So sometimes that's kind of seen as not a huge offer, but it's a little bit of something, almost kind of like the sentiment of if a little kid picks, a dandelion and gives it to somebody. So it's a very sweet gesture, some innocence to it, but not a huge grand gesture. But so overall, that's a good lighthearted energy for the collective. And like I said, there's some of that creativity, that innocence. And then with your Three of Pentacles, that collaboration and teamwork, and possibly a sign for twin flames. So, all right, let's dive in. Today we will start with our water sign. So that's going to be our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And let's see what message is coming through for you. Strength. I feel like this card has been coming up an awful lot lately in readings. So this is just that reminder to dig deep, even if things are challenging right now. There's a lot of big, heavy energy, a lot of kind of transformation going on within the collective. So dig deep and persevere. Moonlight, travel, romance, potential. So if you're in a relationship, there's maybe a little bit of extra romance coming in for you, or if you're looking for a relationship, that could be a good sign of something to come. You have honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So this actually goes really well with the Strength card, that sometimes, depending on what the situation is, it is hard to be honest. And if there's something that needs to be said, but you're trying to figure out like how to say it because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. So sometimes you get that sense of, it's easier just to not say anything. But that Strength card is pushing you into that place of honesty and speaking your truth. All right. Lessons will repeat until you learn. So some of these, it's hard to see the actual writing on it. But I would say that goes really well with all of these. As you know, I look at colors, and there's the purple is in here. The gold on Worf's shirt is in here as well. So I think the strength that you're being called upon is related to, speaking your truth and being honest, quite possibly in a relationship, because also look at the color match there. So it feels like that's likely in regards to a relationship, speaking your truth, speaking your honesty. All right, let's jump into our air signs. So that's going to be our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Let's see what message is coming through for you. The Chariot. So this is that card about progress. It's fast moving, results focused. You're overcoming obstacles and going in the right direction. All right, and your Gaia card is loss, grief, sadness, and resurrection. So sometimes when that's coming out, the good thing is when it comes out with the Chariot, it means it's going to be something fast. So you're overcoming obstacles. Maybe there's something that's been hanging on that you really need to let it go, and you just don't have the courage to, or you don't really see how you can. So sometimes if there's a loss, being able to overcome it and overcome it quickly is the key. And having things unfold quickly. Sometimes the long drawn out is not helpful. So service, I feel good when I can help others. And that's something, especially if you're caught up in your own situation, sometimes it's a nice way to, I would say, distract yourself, but not to the extent of, these cards are sticking together, but not to the extent of ignoring the problem and not healing. But sometimes it's nice just to get out of your own head and focus on something else, focus on helping other people and trying to find your mission. Okay. A new door is opening shortly. So that, you know, I would say that new door is opening shortly. And even with the loss and some of this, you know, kind of this service to others, and I feel like this kind of goes with both in terms of what that loss could be. So maybe it's a loss of an opportunity. If you were looking at jobs, maybe it's a loss in your, I'll call it your grounds. Like if you felt like you were making progress on something in your life, you know, it could be a little bit of a setback or a step backwards. But the Chariot, it is about overcoming obstacles. So maybe part of it is that loss needs to happen in order for you to overcome obstacles. All right, let's take a look at our fire signs. The World. So this is that card about finishing out lessons. It's the end of a cycle. It's usually seen in a, I'll call it like that triumphant manner, that you've learned something, you've finished a lesson, you've closed a chapter, you've gotten that, aha. Sorry about that. It must be Mercury retrograde. There was some sort of blip with the camera and had to restart my computer. So we were on our fire signs and the World had come out. So that's that ending of cycles. Things have gotten through to completion, success, all of that. Let's take a look at your Gaia card and see what comes out. Zen Garden, Inner Sanctuary. So finding that peace within and really focusing on your meditating. Oh, and the jumper card was Friendship. So it says, I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. And let me pull another card since that was a jumper card. Forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. So with that inner sanctuary, that Zen Garden card, that's about, you know, finding that inner peace, and maybe some of the lessons, you know, that inner peace is what you found when you completed that cycle or that lesson, whatever has recently wrapped up the world that you've gotten. All right, and your card here, sit in the stillness and a new path will emerge. So if you've been trying to get yourself maybe out of one situation and into a new one, if you're waiting for a new path, if you're looking for what is the next step for me or what is the way forward, this card is the reminder to sit in that stillness. You don't necessarily have to be always doing something, but one of the keys here is, again, look at this symmetry here. So you've got the oranges and the purples, that this path has to do with this friend who is in your life for a reason, and has to do with forgiveness, and even these, you can see how they're all flowing together. So, you know, kind of a beautiful message there that you'll be able, you know, either you've recently wrapped up a chapter or you're on the verge of being able to wrap up a chapter and get that sense of fulfillment and get that new path with that friendship and that forgiveness, kind of starting that clean slate, that new phase for you. New lessons or new adventures. And sometimes sitting in the peace and stillness of the victory. All right, so air signs. Let's see what is coming through for you for today. This is our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, the moon. So I feel like we've talked a lot about the moon in the last couple of weeks because, my gosh, it has been coming out like crazy. which is probably due to a lot of this retrograde energy that's talking about, kind of the two layers of it. One is, could be like fears, kind of like fears and doubts. So a lot of that is what's going to be tied to your retrograde energy. Sometimes the moon is about deceit, like if somebody's lying to you or trying to put on a front, or there's some sort of an illusion, but a lot of it is about doubts and fears. So if there is a situation where there's illusions or lies that are being told, you can't really control whether somebody tells you something or not, but what you can do is you can temper your fears and your doubts. And so really that's a lot of what the unconditional love is about, is letting go of those fears and doubts. And you can control what you can't control other people, so sit in the rightness for you. All right, and I'll pull a card since we had a jumper. So the jumper card was this card, the search, feeling lost, confused, lonely. And that really goes with the moon card as well. So even though in this one you can see the sun above her head, if you're lost, that's kind of that feeling of being lost, like you're in the dark in the night. The card I pulled was reflection, illusion, self-examination, distortion. So again, this one really ties in with that moon card as well, because that's that illusion and distortion. So as you are reflecting, even within this card, you can see that the reflection is not a perfect reflection of what's above the surface. So, you can see two sets of moons. Some of the pictures aren't exactly a mirror image, like you'll see, I'm trying to do this backwards here. You'll see like the stars up here, but then it's down over here. So it's not a perfect reflection of what you see. You're distorting it a little bit in your mind. So this is that call to find that clarity. All right, let's see what messages come through on your soul journey card. Pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. So some of this could be, I would say it's more of a sense of, although the message kind of coming through is maybe there's a little bit too much pride. And so maybe you're not seeing some of these illusions. You're not seeing some of these messages that are trying to come up. So it's going to push you into more of a sense of self-reflection because you're not readily seeing them. But let's take a look at our final card for you. Every choice is a brick in the wall. So, so that's the whole thing of, you can't ignore all the little choices you're making and saying, oh, well, but my big choice is this, because even all the little things that you're doing are adding up. So every choice you make is a step in one direction or another. And if you're avoiding making a big decision, you're going to end up finding yourself, like if all of a sudden you wake up months later and you say, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Well, if you've been taking all of these tiny steps every day, if you do that every day unchecked, you're going in a direction, whether that's the direction you want to go or not. Just because you're not taking a massive running leap in that direction, lots and lots of little steps, unchecked day after day after day, and you're going in a direction. So make sure that you're being deliberate with your choices. And it looks like some of these might be a little bit based on pride in terms of making some of the choices, but really this, for the air signs, this is really a call for self-reflection. Really that call to look within, see what needs to be healed, see where your doubts and fears are coming up, see where you're telling yourself a message that isn't necessarily true. And what do you need to do in order to move your path forwards in the direction that feels right for your soul. So I hope today's message has been helpful for you. And if you're interested, you can check out some other videos. Recently there was a Is This Your Person video and a soulmate video coming up within the next less than a week. I'll be posting the videos for the first half of September, because we're already almost into September. So make sure to check those out. And if you want to get notified when those videos post, make sure you hit the notification bell. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.